Today, I want to talk about the mirrors of ourselves and how we can use the mirrors of ourselves as a catalyst to change and for deep inner transformation. When I say the mirrors of ourselves, this is simply the way that other people show up in our lives in any types of relationships, no matter what that is. Even if it's someone that you see at the grocery store, a cashier, it could be your barista or whoever. It could be your coworker, it could be your partner, it could be a lot of times it can be random strangers. It could be someone on social media. It could be, anywhere that you come up where there's another person or another being in front of you that you're making contact with, or even from afar. Seeing the mirrors of ourselves is a way of seeing our own humanity in other people, as these are inner reflections. When we judge other people, those are inner reflections of judgment that we have in ourselves. When we're so quick to see beauty, you can reflect back at the beauty within yourself. When you're so quick to see the judgment or the criticism of another person, you're able to reflect back and see in which ways do you do that same exact behavior or a similar kind of behavior. And what this does is not only does it help you see your own humanity and see people better for the reality of what's going on, and brings you much clarity, but it also cultivates matters of the heart, because when you're able to see others as a mirror reflection of who you are and see that you both hold these things that you are just deeming incorrect or that you're deciding is like so beautiful and amazing, both things can be found within yourself. So if it's the beauty that you see in someone else, and that is something that you hold within yourself, a lot of times that beauty we're not aware of. We oftentimes put the beauty outside of ourselves, but we fail to take a moment to recognize the beauty that we hold deep inside. So this kind of a mirror is something that you could use as a self-compassion tool of seeing that, wow, for me to see this beauty, I hold the beauty as well. Comes to someone who you're judging or you're criticizing, you can reflect back, in what ways do I do the same behavior? In what ways am I like this? In what ways is this like me? And it may not be exact, but it may be just subtly similar, or it may be the exact same behavior, but it's a way to bring it to your awareness so then that you can change it. Because if you're judging it, it's usually something that you want to change, but judging it brings the awareness that it is something that you do, and then it gives you the opportunity to change and behave in a way that's more in alignment with who you really are. Using the mirrors of ourselves way for inner change and growth is so wonderful, because what you are doing is you are cultivating matters of the heart. Your heart is softening, compassion is building, and empathy is growing. This is self-compassion and compassion for others, self-empathy and empathy for other people. Now, when it comes to the mirrors of ourselves, it can also be a trap, and it's important not to use it as a trap. It's not black and white thinking. And that is something that needs to be addressed, is the black and white thinking, so that you can come to a level of clarity within, so you don't end up thinking that every single reflection that you see is a reflection within yourself when it's in the darkness. When you see the dark energy in another person, that is not always dark energy that you have within yourself. Sometimes people are actually bad, doing harm people. Because you judge them for their cruel intentions and their cruel behaviors, that does not mean that that is something that you then hold inside because you're able to see it. Don't get into the trap of thinking that, because sometimes this can happen because when we have unhealed trauma, a lot of times, and this is common for so many people, is thinking in a state of black and white, thinking something's all this or all that. And you think, oh, that person is really bad. Think really critically of that person because they have abused someone or overstepped boundaries in a way that is violating to a degree that is illegal and unjustly the darkness in that person. That does not mean that it's the darkness within yourself. So I hope that this makes sense. We are able to heal parts of ourselves by learning the ways to heal these parts, by bringing your awareness to the inner things that need to be changed within yourself and that you want to change within yourself that you didn't even realize you were still functioning from that state. The mirrors that we are seeing, that we're criticizing, it's usually a self-rejection that we have within inside. But then if we face and sit with and learn ways of changing those ways of being that we have been, it opens us to inner and interconnection. Interconnection and healing after healing and self-acceptance. So that you see the mirror, you become aware of the mirror, you go inside, really become aware of what these things are, then you learn ways to insert new behaviors or learn ways of softening the criticism. This could be so many things. These mirrors can come up in so many different ways and in so many different forms. Once you're able to heal the parts of yourself that you're criticizing in another person, then you're able to connect more deeply in your own humanity in that other person and have self-compassion for yourself, therefore have compassion for the other person. When we use the mirrors of ourselves as a practice, the beauty you see in others is a reflection you see within yourself. The beauty within yourself, the darkness you see in others is a reflection of the darkness you see within yourself. A lot of times, especially if you're on a healing journey, you have unresolved trauma, or you could have CPTSD, PTSD, or just a host of unresolved trauma. And with unresolved trauma comes a state of black and white thinking. And even without trauma, a lot of people do have black and white thinking, but it's definitely an easy mind state that most traumatized people find themselves in, that they can heal from. You don't want to be trapped by this practice. You want to use this practice as a way to heal deeply inner states of your own being, so then you can be more aligned with who you truly are in your life and as you show up in the world. It's a way of creating inner change by using the judgment we hold for others as a way to self-reflect back to ourselves. In what ways do I show up in my life like this? In what ways do I treat others like this? In what ways do I treat myself like this? And really sit with the questions and see in which ways we can show up for ourselves better, in the way that we can change within ourselves, and use it as a catalyst for change, but not as a state to berate ourselves or put ourselves down because we judge someone else and we judge them, so then we flip it and judge ourselves. That's not what this is meant for. This is meant to just become aware of your inner states of judgment, in which you can change ways in which you are to better show up as the truth of who you are and be more aligned with your heart, to be more aligned in the true nature that you actually are before any of the experiences happened to you, or the words that were spoken, or anything that caused you to be in a state of judging other people. Seeing the mirrors of ourselves and using it as a catalyst for healing is very expansive, and it's very nurturing to the growth of all that you are and all that you could be. Experiencing the joy in this world, in this life, that you may not have experienced before. Instead of being so constrained, you start to loosen the grip and live in a more open state, a more peaceful state, and a more joyous state. You start this by using practices such like this as the mirrors of ourselves, and it comes up a lot of times when you see judgment. But I also want you to use it the next time you see beauty, the next time you see the beauty in another person. Reflect that back to yourself and honor the beauty that's within yourself, because you would not see the beauty in another person if it didn't already exist inside.